Welcome to Live Music Society Season 2. As you can already see, Season 2 is a little bit different. We are here in our kitchen in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina.
Big move for us this past year. And typically we would, in Season 1, go to an artist's home and cook in their kitchen. In Season 2, we flipped it. All of them are coming to us.
So one of the other things that we're doing a little bit differently here in Season 2 is we've started what's called a Patreon page. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about Patreon.
Well, Patreon is a service by which people that you like, whether it's artists or other bloggers, things like that, can have a means to have their public that watch them support them, usually by donation on a monthly basis. But it helps us keep doing what we're doing. And for us, having Patreon means we're bringing these artists down here to the Outer Banks. We're cooking their favorite meals, and we're having great conversations and then sharing it with you.
So go to patreon.com and search for Live Music Society. And if you contribute $1 a month, or there's some other options, you'll get some special rewards and help sponsor us to create more episodes like this. So also on this episode, we are excited to welcome Jesse Rubin to the Outer Banks. Yay! Tell you a little bit about Jesse. Jesse grew up in Philadelphia, moved to Nashville, but for the last 8 years or so has been living in Brooklyn. He has two LPs, two EPs, and over 20 million streams on Spotify and YouTube. So one of the other things that's different about this season, instead of us doing all the cooking,
we're going to do it together with the artists. Everybody has their turn at the oven, at the stove top, chopping, peeling, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
So we asked Jesse if he had his favorite dish or a signature dish that he makes, and it turns out he did. So in this episode, you'll get to find out what that dish is.
And you're going to get to see what we pair along with it, as well as a fun dessert.
Here we go. I asked, do you have a signature dish or something that you make at home?
My favorite dish of all time is coq au vin, which is red wine.
Chicken and red wine, yeah.
Chicken braised in red wine. So this is similar to that, only it's white wine. And the first time we made it, we loved it, and now it is our signature dish whenever we have people over at the house because it's not that hard and it's really yummy.
So how's this recipe go?
So we're gonna prep everything first, and then we're gonna start cooking. So we have shallots, mushrooms, garlic. I gotta get those peeled and sliced.
All right.
We're gonna juice this lemon, and then we're gonna prep the chicken.
People are generous, you are perfect, no matter what you did in life.
So we're gonna heat the oil in the pan, which hopefully won't burn us all. Okay, we're gonna do a medium-high heat-ish. We're gonna wait for that to get hot. So typically you would go skin side down, no skin, so we're just gonna go into the pan. Oh yeah, good sizzle.
Pan's nice and hot. Already smells good.
It already smells good. Do we need to turn this chicken over?
I think so. Well, does it move?
Yeah.
Look, good color.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
It's like Good color and burn. We're like right before burn.
Oh, that's nothing.
That's
That
great
one.
color.
Well, it's the paprika gets really dark.
That's true.
Oh yeah, that's what we're looking for.
when I'm too tired and way too sick. And I'm convinced that it won't be fixed like the moon does to the sun in an eclipse. I need you to cover me, yeah, yeah.
Now we're gonna start the sauce, which is the best part. First thing in the pan, shallots, mushrooms. Pan's hot, not too much fat in it. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Oh yeah.
Got our mushrooms.
Which will cook down considerably. 7 minutes-ish till they start to caramelize and get pretty.
All right. So what I like's going on here.
Let's talk about it.
Great color
Mm-hmm.
on the onions. Like you said,
Shallots.
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 The mushrooms are really, you can see, they're starting to reduce.
Cook down a little bit.
Cook down a little
Yeah.
bit.
Very
Ideally get
important.
some color on that.
My thing about cooking is like I want simple ingredients cooked really well. That's my whole thing. Like I saw your recipe book. Like some of those things are nuts, and I appreciate that. But I'd rather have just like a well-seasoned thing. You know,
I agree. Less is more.
less is more. That's good. We're gonna throw the garlic in. Let that cook for just a little tiny bit.
I'm going to call that rough chop
Yeah,
garlic.
that'll do it. All right, we're ready. We're ready for this wine. So we're gonna put the wine in and let that reduce by half. And this is where the magic happens. At some point we should put some salt into the pan. All right, so wine is reduced by about half. We're gonna add some chicken stock and a little bit of mustard.
What kind of mustard?
What kind of mustard? Dijon mustard.
This is Dijon.
Very important
Well, it doesn't have to be, but this happens.
for this recipe,
Gotcha.
and emotionally, it is very important. Give it a little stir. Let that cook a little more. So the lemons go in. Once we bring it up to a boil, we're gonna put the chicken back in the pot.
Yep.
And the lemons just go in and sit right in the broth while it's in the oven. And then, when it's out of the oven, the first thing you do is put a little bit of the lemon juice just right on top.
Fantastic.
Gives it a little bit of a
Zing.
little zing.
Little zing.
Little zing. That's the technical term for it. Is a zing.
In our thyme.
That also goes on right on top before you put it in the oven. Just gives it a little bit of.
Whole sprig?
Yep.
Yeah, and then we just pull the sprig out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just take it off.
Love it.
All right, we're gonna turn this off.
I can hold it.
That's all right.
All right.
These get them like in there pretty good. I don't know why I just said that with a southern accent. I don't have one.
So essentially we're braising.
Essentially, we are braising. So I'm gonna hand you that. We are going to sling these guys. Just get them nice and in there, like so. I'm gonna take a couple of these.
So let me hand me the
This guy?
that, and I'm gonna.
Yeah, let's. That's good. Now we stick it in the oven, 25 minutes ish.
Raise your hand if you're scared of the future. Raise your hand if your money feels tight. Hold it high if you hate your body. Well, it's all part if I ever find you crying, I'll remind
We're doing dessert. One of the interesting aspects about taking regular recipes and turning them into a gluten-free option is the variety of flours that we use. Today I found a banana flour. I've used rice, coconut, almond, but what you're trying to do is work with a recipe and make sure you get that same consistency and mouthfeel that you want and are used to in an all-purpose flour type dessert. So today we're making what I'm calling an Elvis Twinkie, and we're adding in the middle of the batter as we fill the pan a peanut butter cream. We'll bake that. We'll prep a raspberry coulis, which many people are familiar with. It's basically a fruit sauce where you remove the seeds, and you can either just put a prep on the pan, you can put it as a side sauce, very complimentary as the raspberry flavor to chocolate. Simply topped when we prepare it for service will be a slight dusting of powdered sugar, all gluten-free. So here we go. I do have the dry ingredients in the bowl already, which includes sugar, cinnamon, the banana flour, baking powder, and a little hint of cayenne. So I do like to add a little bit of an unexpected kick to our desserts. What I'm going to do is mix the wet ingredients separately. I have 2 fresh eggs that have come up to room temperature. I have 3/4 of a cup of melted coconut oil. I use the organic virgin cold pressed. I just like the flavor of it. It's subtle when you do bake it, but it does have a nice richness and adds moisture to the cake. I have vanilla as well as a little bit of Devache syrup. I found Devache as a date nectar. It's an alternative for those of us that do Whole30 as well, so that you don't have the extra added processed sugar. I'm also adding a 1/2 cup of strong coffee. This is a French roast. And a 1/2 cup of almond milk. I like to whisk those together. You want to make sure that you get the egg yolk and the egg white broken up really well before adding to your dry ingredients. What I do like to use, though, is a spatula. Basically, with anything other than all-purpose flour, it's a matter of just making sure things are mixed well versus beaten to death, which in many recipes, to get that batter smooth using all-purpose flour, you tend to do that with an electric mixer. I did prep my cream that's going inside the Twinkies a little earlier, and basically this is just a preparation, and you can use different amounts based on the size and quantity you need. Peanut butter, you can use sunflower butter, almond butter, whatever suits your taste, a little powdered sugar, and a little almond milk. So that's ready to go as well. I'm starting with about a 1/2 scoop, and I'm going to get that in each one of these slots. Then we're going to add the layer of the peanut butter cream inside and top it off with more batter. It's going to go into a 350-degree oven, and it bakes for about 20 minutes. I would recommend you check it at about 18 for doneness, because everybody's oven heats a little differently and reaches sometimes not the optimal temperature that you're looking for. So it's just better to be ahead of it and check.
Because those are the ones that are going to end up in those.
When a man's an empty kettle, he should be on his mantle, and yet I'm torn apart. Just because I'm presuming that I could be a human if I...
All right, we're gonna start our meal off with a great salad. It is a grilled romaine. We've made a homemade citrus vinaigrette that also is infused with a roasted poblano that we did earlier today. We've topped it with some blistered heirloom cherry tomatoes and some shaved pecorino.
All right. So question number one.
Yeah.
Getting to know you. Outside of music,
Yeah.
do you have a hobby? What hobby do you have?
That's a great question. The short answer to that question is no. But I have things that I...
Then it's a bad question.
No, it's a great question because I kind of feel like in order to do this professionally, you really have to just like lean into it all the way. Like, and I've talked about this with other musicians because, you know, like young musicians or songwriters will reach out to me. Do you have any advice? How do I get started? How do I know if I want to be a singer-songwriter or not? And I've talked to Jen about this too because people who are actors will reach out to her. And the answer that I give them is if there's anything else that brings you joy at all, do that thing, not this. Because this is a lot. So is there something that I've like devote as much time and energy to? No. But I am so drawn to creativity and reading and writing and traveling. I do a lot of jigsaw puzzles.
Really?
Yeah, I love jigsaw puzzles.
So kind of to bring it full circle, I think what I'm hearing is it's a focus for you. Your life, your lifestyle,
Yeah.
and your life's journey is focused on music.
Yeah.
That becomes your hobby,
Yeah.
and it's hard to break out of that.
For us. Oh, how can something so simple become so hard? Why do we keep believing that we should be where we are? And how can a problem so little become so large? It started off unbreakable. We started off unbreakable.
Main course.
Main course.
Well,
All
we're
right.
going to describe this together.
Together. So
give us the main.
So this is the signature Reuben Jacob household dish. This is chicken thighs in a white wine reduction sauce with shallots and mushrooms and a little bit of garlic.
Brilliant. So to pair that, we prepared a quinoa that has mushrooms, spinach, and the shallots as well. We also put in some chopped apricots just for a little sweetness. Earlier, Bill grilled the portobello mushrooms that had been marinated, as well as red onions.
Yum.
So we're ready to jump in.
I'm excited to eat this.
All right, let's go. I love the color on this chicken.
Yeah,
Oh,
it turned out.
how about a question?
All right. How did you define success 10 years ago, and how do you define success today?
Well, 10 years ago I was 22. I had just graduated from college, and I was about to sign my first publishing deal, and I was like, I'm gonna take over the world. I'm gonna sell out Madison Square Garden. I'm gonna be on a tour bus for the rest of my life. That was all I wanted, you know? And then I still want all of those things. I don't know, it's hard to answer this question without sounding like a sellout a little bit. But it's just like, now I really want to be happy. Because there's a lot about, if all you want to do is play Madison Square Garden and you're not playing Madison Square Garden, that's a really easy way to have an unhappy life,
Right.
you know? So for me, I just want to feel like I'm moving forward. I want to make sure that I'm traveling a lot and playing a lot and make sure my audience is growing and that I'm pushing myself creatively. But success to me, I still would love to play Madison Square Garden. I still would love to do a headline tour in a tour bus. Oh my God, that would be super fun. I'd like to do lots of headline tours in a tour bus. But I want to be able to like sleep through the night and feel good about what I've written during the day. I want to be able to spend time with people that I love. I want to have a family. You know, it's just a very different mindset from 10 years ago because I was so young back then.
The We Can project is obviously a big part of your life now.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit how that's changed your life.
I got this amazing email from this teacher who had promised her second grade class that she would email me to ask if I would come visit their school. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. Absolutely. And took me 3 planes. I took this really tiny little plane, like an 8-seater plane, to fly into Vancouver Island. And I got to the airport and there were like 250 kids and their parents waiting for me. So I went and hung out there for a couple days. I ended up going back a bunch of times to do fundraisers for them and to meet with more and more. So the first time I went to like 2 or 3 schools, and then the next time was like 6 or 7. And I just had this great time on this little island, and I really connected with the people there, and we made the music video for the song. I came back to New York, and I was in my apartment, and I was like, man, that was a really great trip. And I started getting emails from other teachers like, hey, we saw this video, what's this thing, how can we do this? And I was like apologizing for it. I was like, I don't know what this is, I'm sorry, it's not really anything. And then I started interviewing teachers and trying to figure out how I could help them. And we created this thing called the We Can Project, which is a combination of a growth mindset and a service learning initiative. So a big part of it is how you can impact your community and the people around you, so your family or your friends or your school. And then another thing, which we didn't have at first, but I noticed was really important for elementary and middle school kids especially, was like, what are things you want to try? Do you want to learn a language? Do you want to learn an instrument? Is there a sport you want to play? Is there something you've always wanted to do? And it's really been this incredible thing in my life where it's grown year after year, and I've met people from all different backgrounds and everything from, you know, private schools in New York City, Catholic schools in Minneapolis, every socioeconomic background. So it's just been this really unexpected. Like, I didn't write the song and go, I'm going to create a program out of this. It's really been it's just been organic, and the growth of it has been really special.
Yeah.
And it's something that I am so grateful for.
A lot of people doubted me, they laughed in my face, said there ain't no way I would finish that race, but I kept my head down and laced up my shoes. I ran a marathon when no one thought I could. I didn't always want to, but I said that I would, and I learned a lot about what I can do. It doesn't matter if they don't believe. It doesn't matter if they do not understand. 'Cause every dream that I'm trying to achieve.
All right, we're at the end of the meal.
Sad.
Can you believe it?
No.
It's been wonderful.
Cheers.
Just want to thank you again before we get going on this part of it for being with us, taking the time to cook, taking the time to chat and spend some time.
My pleasure.
We are going to end it on a gluten-free Elvis Twinkie. And they caught this earlier today when we were putting it together, and it's basically a gluten-free cake with raw cocoa, so it's a chocolate cake, but it's made with banana flour. In the middle of it has a peanut butter cream, and we've obviously topped it with a little powdered sugar, but what we put on the side is a fresh raspberry coulis, just for some moisture color and a little bit of flavor comparison to the notes you're going to get in the chocolate.
It's all about color.
It's about color
And layers.
and layers
And flavor.
and flavor and
Punch of color.
visuals.
Oh, yes, visuals.
Yes.
Damn it.
You've learned a lot.
I've learned a lot today.
Did it work out? Okay. All right, Billy, take us home with the last question.
So,
No pressure.
in season 1, we asked artists to write a lyric to a song.
Quickly found that was
Yeah, that was.
not a good idea.
Okay.
in the time that you have left on this earth,
Wow. Okay. So, real light question.
what's the one thing you want to accomplish?
So, I guess if there was like one thing I want to do is just to continue doing this for the rest of my life, you know, like, and figure out what it looks like to raise a family and be a musician, and be a dad and be a musician, and be a husband and be a musician, and put kids through college and be financially stable, whatever that means. And it's so funny, I think about it a lot. Like, I spent so much time and energy and have had so much upset and joy over a decision I made when I was 16. Like, I was 16 years old. My dad bought me a $90 Yamaha acoustic, Ibanez acoustic that's sitting in my mom's house. And I sat down with it and I was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And that was 16 years ago. And I'm still here, you know? So it's one thing, but it's a lot of things. But I want to accomplish all these things I haven't done yet.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for coming to the Outer Banks,
That was
and
my
thanks for
pleasure.
being on the Live Music Society.
You guys are the best.
Thanks
Thank
so
you for
much.
supporting people like me. You guys are the best.
Absolutely. Cheers to you.
I have so many questions and places to go. There are too many options, far too many unknowns. This is why I need you. And everyone talks now, but no one is right. There are too many armies, but no one to fight. This is why I need you. 'Cause you make the darkness less dark. You make the edges less sharp. You make the winter feel warmer. You make my weakness less weak. You make the bottom less deep. You make the waiting feel shorter. You make my crazy feel normal every time. You are the who, love is the what, this is the why. There are too many problems and no one who cares. There are so many roads and they all need repairs. This is why I need you. And there's not enough chocolate, there's too many chores. There are so many mountains that I haven't explored. This is why I need you. 'Cause you make the darkness less dark. You make the edges less sharp. You make the winter feel warmer. And you make my weakness less weak. You make the bottom less deep. You make the waiting feel shorter. You make my crazy feel normal every time. You are the who, love is the what, this is the why. And you keep the ship moving forward. And you make it easy to try. And you make my crazy feel normal every time. You are the who, love is the what, this is the why. You are the who, love is the what, this is the why. You are the who, love is the what, and this is the why.
Thank you.
So in this episode, we welcome Jesse Rubin. Jesse Rubin was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He moved to Nashville, but for the last 8 years, he's lived in Brooklyn, New York.
Jesse also likes to cook. And we're happy to have him sharing meals with us.
That was it? Oh, hi, Jesse.
Oh,
Are you guys?
We're filming here.
move on. And cut.